And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Beyond the Mic podcast today, October the 6th, 2025. Hope you all are having a fantabulous Monday so far, wherever you may be. Yeah, that's my word of the day today. Carlos Zimmermann here alongside John Clendenin and Justin Hardcastle, our great producer. We appreciate y'all coming on to the show today as we lock into another wild weekend of college football. I have the entirety of this week in coverage this week, as John was lazy. I'm just kidding. He was on a bye week. And travel nightmares towards the end of the show. So stay tuned for that as we mosey along on this Monday. So why don't we dive right into it? We decided, after all of the craziness with, the AP Top 25 and some of the scrutiny that's come with it, we decided this week we went with our own polls and how we would have voted the AP Top 25. Should we actually list out how the AP turned out this week?
Yeah, I can go ahead and pull that up. I have it up right here. As we always do, we react to the AP Top 25 here during the college football portion of the show. Ohio State number 1 with 40 first place votes. Miami number 2, 21 first place votes. Oregon number 3 with 5 first place votes. Ole Miss at number 4, A&M at 5, Oklahoma at 6, Indiana at 7, Alabama at 8, Texas Tech at 9, and Georgia at 10. Those are the AP top 10. Following that, LSU at 11, Tennessee at 12, Georgia Tech at 13, Missouri at 14, Michigan at 15, Notre Dame all the way up to 16, Illinois 17, BYU 18, Virginia 19, Vanderbilt down to 20, Arizona State up to 21. Iowa State drops to number 22, and welcome to the AP poll, number 23 Memphis, number 24 South Florida, and number 25 Florida State. And if you didn't hear Texas or Penn State on that list, it's because they are the top 2 preseason AP poll teams have fallen out of the AP Top 25. Cincinnati is the leader receiving votes at 129. Texas is next at 111, and Penn State with 97. So they are at 27 and 28. No. Yes, 27 and 28 respectively. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of scrutiny. There was some on this show about their body of work, and did they deserve a top 10 ranking? And both those teams had the opportunity to go out and silence a lot of doubters, and they did silence them because they made doubters into people who had correct opinions. So, I think that kind of leads into the segue of, for the past couple of weeks, people have been criticizing the AP poll for their, saying, people aren't watching the games or they're going based off of regional bias or name brand recognition, and they're not actually putting in effort to watch the games. And so we sat down on Saturday night and we decided we were going to make our own AP poll after Week 6, and so I think if we just do we want to give our personal polls first, or do we just want to get right into the composited poll ranking?
I think for the sake of time, we can go into the composite, but if you want to just give initial reactions to the actual AP and how it panned out this week, I think they got it right. Penn State and Texas do not belong in the top 25 after Penn State loses to an unranked UCLA and Texas loses to an unranked Florida, and especially in the way they did. So I think they got that right. The only thing, and you'll see with my poll, I didn't agree with Florida State saying in the top 25. I feel like Cincinnati did enough, beating a top 15 team to get into the top 25. You usually see that. If someone that's unranked beats a top 15 and they already have a pretty solid record, they belong in the AP top 25. So that's why I had Cincinnati in my poll and not Florida State. And congrats to Memphis, first bowl-eligible team of 2025 because they're off to a 6-0 start.
Yeah, when I look at this, I have to agree with you. When you're two teams, and you lose to two teams that are combined record of 1-7, and that one win is against Long Island University, going in, you do not deserve to really be in the top 25 rankings at the moment. Now, I think that there are opportunities for Texas and Penn State to earn their way back into that top 25. But they haven't shown me anything yet that makes me think that they are teams capable of doing that. I disagree a little bit with you on the Florida State thing. I think when we look at Florida State, you have a win over a top 8 or a top 10 Alabama team, and then your 2 losses are, one is on the road at a top 20 Virginia team in double overtime, and then the other one was a 1-score loss against Miami, who is number 2 in the country, who 21 people think is the best team in the country. I think that if we're looking at teams that maybe, Cincinnati could pass, it's just really hard for me at that bottom section. I would honestly say probably South Florida would be the team that I would take out. Their wins over Boise State and Florida have not aged quite as nicely as they did at the beginning of the season, and then we saw what they did when they went to Miami, which, by the way, Miami looks like a buzzsaw right now. Mm-hmm. So props to Mario Cristobal answering a lot of questions that a lot of people had about his program. I could see Cincinnati maybe sliding in at 25 and South Florida going down to that first receiving vote spot. But no, I think when you look at it, Memphis has fought hard and they deserve to be in that top 25. I like that we didn't punish Vanderbilt too much for going on the road and keeping it close with Alabama until kind of a late score made that game look a little more lopsided than it actually was. And Texas Tech. We talked about it on the show that maybe a possible upset was brewing down in Houston, and instead the Raiders went for their unofficial home game, as their AD called it, down in Houston, and took care of business. So I think this is a poll that for the most part is respectable. It's not. I don't think anybody's ever going to sit down and be like they got it 100% right.
Right.
But I think it is a respectable poll, wherein the past couple weeks the poll has really not been too respectable, which led to this exercise that we are about to engage in.
So, if you want to, hang on, we're having a little issues with your camera over here.
Slight issue with your camera, John.
All good. I will continue to talk
shut off
while
for
y'all...
a second. Everybody, pay no attention to the black screen.
Well, as y'all work on that, I will kind of
up.
explain to our listeners and our viewers
We'll just have
what is going to be going on. Is the three of us sat down and we have compiled our own top 25 polls, each of us, and we inputted that into a very sophisticated algorithm, and then averaged those out using the same method, points method of the AP and coaches poll. So if you're number 1, you get 25 points, and it decreases down to where number 25 gets 1 point. And that has given us our top 25 ranking. So I think the best way that we can do this is I'll give the top 10, and then I'll give the next 10, and then I'll give all the way down to 29 the people that received votes. And we can just react a little bit to what we have and where things came out. No surprise, the top 3, Ohio State, Miami, and Oregon, in that order. I think that's the consensus. Top 3 teams in college football. Ole Miss came out to number 4. A&M came out to number 5. Oklahoma came out to number 6. Alabama came out to number 7. Texas Tech came out to number 8. Indiana came out to number 9. And Georgia came out to number 10. So the highest person that had Georgia was actually Justin. Justin had Georgia up to number 9. The lowest person with Georgia was Carlos. He had him at 11. I had him at 10. So what are you guys' thoughts on that right there?
I mean, my thought process, I'll just give you my top 10 and why I decided to go with it the way I did. Top 3, the same. I went all the major undefeateds 1 through 8, from Ohio State all the way down to Tech at number 8. just by pure point. I flipped Oklahoma and Texas A&M. I had Oklahoma at 5 and Texas A&M at 6, just because I felt like their strength of schedules outside of the Kent State game was something of note. But for A&M, throughout the first half of that game, Mississippi State kept it interesting, and then A&M was able to blow it out of the water. So, I mean, you could really go interchangeably either way. That's just my disdain for the Aggies. Sorry, John.
I'm right there with you.
I think Indiana, that Indiana-Oregon game this weekend is going to be insane. Indiana has proven why they belong in the top 10, and Texas Tech's right there with them, too, with their quality win over Houston. So that's why I put them above Alabama and Tennessee, who were my 9 and 10, respectively. But I felt like that was just a pretty even one, albeit given that Oklahoma and Texas A&M very much interchangeable.
I can get in on this Oklahoma A&M kind of debate. As my top 10, I had those top 3. I had A&M at 4, Ole Miss at 5, Indiana at 6, Oklahoma at 7, Alabama 8, Tech 9, Georgia 10. One thing that sticks out to me, number 1, A&M has the number 1 strength of record in the country. So they're sitting at number 1, which means that I believe the number is less than a 25% chance that any team in the poll would be able to repeat the record that they have in the games they've played. They have the number 18 strength of schedule in the country compared to number 64 by the Sooners. Now, Oklahoma does have the number 1 remaining strength of schedule for the rest of the year.
That's what I saw.
Yep.
That's what I saw.
A&M's a 17.
Yeah.
I think A&M, when you look at that win at Notre Dame, I think based off of what the poll is now, I think it's still the best win of the season. You're on the road versus a top 15 Notre Dame team. Top 6, so they're number 16. Oklahoma does have to win against Michigan, but that was at home. Alabama at Georgia might give it a run for its money. But I think the Aggies are trending in the right direction. And when I look at teams, that they've played, I think that A&M is probably a smidge ahead of Ole Miss. I think Indiana has a really big test this weekend against Oregon. That is going to be a really fun game. Mm-hmm. Kirk Cignetti has a chance to back up some of the talk that he does. I think he's a great football coach. Played a lot of good games against Sam Houston, but he does have a tendency to kind of talk himself up a little bit. And he's earned that right. But he talks about strength of schedule and playing cupcakes and stuff like that. And Indiana's non-conference schedule left a lot to be desired this year for a team of their caliber, and they have a great win against Illinois. But you go into Autzen Stadium and beat the Ducks. I think you've proven that you've turned that Indiana program around for real.
If they go in there to Eugene and get a huge win, that will put the country on notice, and would not shock me if we find Indiana in the top 5, if not the top 3.
Have to.
If they knock off Oregon, tough place to play. So that'll be tough if you want to roll through the rest of the next 10, if you will.
Gotcha. Tennessee came out to number 11. LSU came out to number 12. Missouri to 13. Georgia Tech 14. Michigan 15. Vanderbilt 16. BYU 17. Notre Dame 18. Illinois 19. Virginia came out to number 20.
Good for them.
Wow, this was a little lopsided on mine. I had BYU at 15 with their undefeated run so far. I kept them bunched up with Missouri and Georgia Tech. Virginia, I had at 17. I still had Notre Dame at 20. I didn't necessarily agree with Notre Dame being so high at number 16 on the actual poll. Where was it? Where was Notre Dame on?
Notre Dame was 16 on the actual poll. And they
then
were
on ours.
18 at ours.
Okay.
On ours.
See, 18 I would find more respectable. I think 16 for a 3-2 team. I know the win that A&M had over them, that's why it has some weight to it. I get that. And I don't agree with them moving up 5 spots after, their 3 wins are wins they should have gotten. at the end of the day.
Fair. That is fair. Vanderbilt at 16 may seem a little high. I will say Justin pulled them up a lot, gave them a number 10 ranking in his poll.
I did.
And so that pulled Vandy up there. Otherwise, they were at, I think you had them at...
I had them at 19.
19, I had them at 20. LSU's right where I think they are.
That's where they should be.
Missouri, I think the same thing. Georgia Tech, all these teams, like there's no big outliers here on this one. I think Virginia was ranked got pulled down a little bit by Justin's poll, which it's his poll, it's his prerogative. So I'm just looking at the numbers, but overall, I think that we got that middle 10 right.
I would agree.
In there. All right. And so then we have the last 5, and then we have 4 teams receiving votes. We have Arizona State at 21, Iowa State at 22, Memphis at 23, South Florida at 24, Clemson at 25, Mississippi State at 26, Nebraska at 27, Utah at 28, and Cincinnati at 29. So I think there's a couple things to talk about here.
Given that, and I know you put them in there, but given that Clemson didn't even receive actual votes,
yeah.
I know you did that just because they laid the smackdown on Bill in North Carolina.
I thought it at least deserved to get him some consideration. If y'all can't tell, this is my first time ever ranking a top 25 poll ever, so I don't know what all goes into it.
There's a bevy of things that go into it, but I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson ends up back in the top 25 at some point.
It was my prediction that they would, so I guess I was just sort of jumping the mic.
They were a top 10 preseason pick, and rightfully so.
They have a lot of talent.
They have a lot of talent. Like I said, I put Cincinnati at 23 just because I felt like that win over Iowa State was enough to put them in. You could argue maybe they should have just been at 25 and just flipped out Florida State on the actual poll, but either way, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking on that front. Who else received votes? Nebraska, Mississippi State?
So Nebraska, I had Mississippi State at 24. Justin had Nebraska at 24. He had Utah at 25, which gave them a vote. And then
I had Cincinnati.
You had Cincinnati. So actually, okay, our algorithm messed up a tiny bit. Cincinnati and Clemson are tied at 25.
Okay.
So Cincinnati has received 3 points for your vote. Clemson received 3 points for your vote. So they're actually tied at 25. So Mississippi State is actually 27.
Okay.
Nebraska is 28.
Utah
is 29.
Okay.
So I put Mississippi State in there. I look at, they have a win over Arizona State, who, top 25 team in the country, consensus on all polls. And then you push Tennessee, and I don't want to penalize you for losing to a team that, in my mind, is a college football playoff team and a national championship contender. I think that speaks more about who A&M is rather than who Mississippi State is. Just in my personal opinion of the matter.
My only thing about and those are very valid reasons. My only thing about not including Mississippi State in there is I wouldn't put them in after a loss to a top 10 team. That's just me. That's the way the poll is always operated. Because I tried to think like these these people that get paid to vote on these polls. We're just pure speculators over here. We don't get paid to do the big bucks to do that. So that's the only reason I wouldn't include Mississippi State. But to each their own. That's our AP Top 25, our conglomerate there. As we close in on the end of this segment, big week of college football coming up on firstly Friday. South Florida and North Texas will meet. And obviously, us as Sam Houston followers, we keep up with North Texas because a lot of our former players are there, and our former DC is there as well. So that'll be interesting to see if North Texas can beat South Florida at home. Wouldn't shock me if you see North Texas, the Mean Green, pop up in the top 25. But a bevy of top 25 matchups. On Saturday,
man, and it's really just pick what you want to watch.
Thank gosh, YouTube TV has a multi-view.
Because we start Ohio State at Illinois and Alabama versus Missouri, so that's two top 20 matchups, both at 11 a.m. And then once you get done with that for your viewing pleasure at 2:30, Indiana versus Oregon on CBS, and Red River at 2:30 on ABC. Following that, once that gets done and we delve into the night slate, I'm going to be at A&M versus Florida. But Georgia at Auburn, Michigan at USC, South Carolina at LSU, and Arizona State at Utah to close off the nightcap. So, I mean, it is, like you said, a bevy of a weekend for college football. This is why I think I agree with Josh Pat when I say that you need to ban fall weddings on Saturdays.
Yes.
Yep.
This is one of those weekends where you're just sitting there and you're like, babe, why would I go anywhere else
Than in front of my couch.
but the refrigerator to get an ice cold beverage as I'm watching college football?
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more there.
Couldn't agree with you more.
It is a great weekend for college football.
Last touch on this. Do we have a pick for an upset in the top 25?
Is
Okay,
Oklahoma beating Texas still considered an upset at this point?
According to Vegas, it is. The line is 2.5.
Really?
Texas is a 2.5-point favorite against Oklahoma.
That's nuts.
Oklahoma's gonna beat them
So
one point.
if I have to, if that is what we consider an upset, then I would take that to be my upset pick. Looking at kind of the bigger games, man.
Call me crazy. I like Missouri in Columbia.
I think that's a big game for
against
Dink.
Alabama.
Oh.
My eye, though, where my eye wanders, it goes all the way down to a night game on ABC at 6:30. Auburn versus Georgia. Okay? If Auburn can just figure out how to move the football, they are going to be as good as anybody in the country. That defense is legit down in Auburn.
Yes.
All right. Now, I'd have to look at. I thought I didn't know if it's true or not, so this is just pure speculation. If there's an injury with Georgia, I don't know where I saw that. I thought I saw it on Twitter or something like that. But I just look at that and I'm like, man, if Auburn can figure it out, and maybe it's moving to Deuce Knight and not Jackson Arnold, and just giving the freshmen a chance, that can be a team that is very dangerous. And Hugh Freeze knows how to win at home against the top teams in the SEC. Hasn't done it yet, but he did it at Ole Miss, right? And so this could be a make-it-break-it game for the Hugh Freeze era at Auburn. I also look at Utah versus Arizona State. Even though Utah is a 5.5-point favorite over Arizona State still has the number by their name. And there's a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of Utah fans, not happy with this week's polls. They feel like the Utes are being disrespected after they pushed Texas Tech and have won the rest of their games. So I think those are probably the three that I would look at. Technically, Michigan, USC is also technically a favorite against Michigan. But I think
Give me the Trojans in that one.
man, I don't know.
No kidding.
I think Michigan can get the win and upset the Vegas bookmakers. That seems like a line that it's going to swing. Closer we get to game day, Michigan
we've got a
will
few
probably
days,
be 1.5 or something like that for the Wolverines. But yeah, that Georgia Auburn game, I'm just looking at it. 6:30 night game at Jordan Hare. Back against the wall for the Tigers, trying to avoid being 0-3 and trying to save their season early on. When teams play with that kind of desperation at home, it can be a big deal.
Crazy things can happen.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. It'll be an action-packed college football weekend, and we'll all be glued to our couches enjoying all of the good stuff that college football brings every single week. I still stand by this, greatest sport in the world.
Absolutely.
I
It
agree.
is the best sport and the best level of the sport is college football. There's not with NIL, I can't say you're not playing for money, because you are, but there's still so much pride that people have in their team that make people do crazy things like go poison trees. It's wild. It's wild. European mind can't comprehend.
No, they cannot.
No.
All right, time to dive into Carlos's week of coverage since John was on a bye week with Navasota. The Rattlers got the weekend off. And actually, this is also really, for half of it, Carlos and Justin's weekend coverage since you made the trek with us to the Golden Triangle of
yes.
Port Neches, Groves, Huntsville, battled the PNG on Friday night, and it was quite the ball game. When you look at it, you take the Huntsville glasses off for a second. You just watch it purely as a football fan. It was a really good football game.
It was.
It was back and forth. PNG, number 3 team in the state in 5A Division II, and you got a Huntsville team that came into the season, according to Dave Campbell's, projected to win District 8 5A Division II Region 2. You got 2 teams that are playing for a lot of pride and also ultimately trying to set themselves at the top of the district so they can try to pull away from everybody else and find themselves in a favorable playoff position. But and for Huntsville right out of the gate, it looked really good. Up 21-10 at the half on PNG, a team that is John over here eats his lunch or dinner.
I'm listening.
His dinner. Should have came tonight.
For real.
He has Chick-fil-A, and by the way, Hornet Nation coaches show tonight 7:00 at Chick-fil-A. Come out and see us. So Huntsville's up 21-10, and they're feeling. If you're taking the number 3 team to task. In the way they did with the offense moving the ball well and the defense playing well. Special teams looked a lot better than they did against West Fork. So you had to feel pretty good about that. But then coming out of the locker room, Huntsville gets the ball to start the second half. You have a chance to really put a statement on PNG. They get held 3 and out, and then it felt like from there on, PNG just made the adjustments they needed to make to be able to win a ball game.
It's interesting you say that's where, the momentum kind of shifted. Some people were saying it was before halftime with the not going for it on 4th and 1. That's kind of where I felt like it shifted, and then the 3 and out just kind of really got the ball rolling.
I'm never one to question coaching at all, and I'm not questioning it whatsoever because that's not my job.
No, of course not.
I understand going for the field goal there. You want to come away with points.
Right.
On that drive. You need to come away with some points.
You always
there.
hear take the points. People were mad because the field goal didn't work out.
Right. That's the risk you play.
Had they made it, I don't think
had you make it, I feel like it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. You're up 14 going into half, which is still really good against a really good team. So and then just PNG. That's what good teams do. They make adjustments, and that's what I feel like happened on Friday night. So, a tough one if you're Huntsville, but they have an opportunity to bounce back this week on Friday at home. You're against Montgomery, which is a really good, well-coached team in the Bears. They're having a great start to their season. They won on Friday against their rival Lake Creek. A little closer of a game than I anticipated. They won 42-31, but it's a rivalry game, so you expect things to be a little bit tight on that front. This will be a big test for Huntsville to try and get themselves back into the win column. You got to think about it. You're 1-1 in district play. You ran well with one of the best teams in the district.
Yeah.
So they'll have some confidence.
Best teams in the state.
Yeah, one of the best teams in the state. So they'll have confidence going into Friday. The big game out of the district that I saw was the thriller. John, I don't know if you saw this or not. You as a high school football junkie, you'll appreciate this. Dayton and Nederland went to quadruple overtime. And Dayton won 61-59 on the road, mind you, just down the street from where we were at, 10 minutes away.
10 minutes down the road.
At Bulldog Stadium. But did you see how Dayton won?
No, we were packing everything up. Remember, I think you said it, but I was.
So I said that Dayton had won in the quadruple overtime, and at that point you're just trading 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
So Dayton won. Nederland had the ball down to trying to tie it up and send it to a 5th overtime.
Right.
Dayton intercepts the ball in the end zone.
They just go down.
And took it. Oh, I'm sorry. Dayton and Nederland were tied.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
59-59.
Okay.
Dayton intercepted the ball and took it all the way back to the other end.
Oh, my God.
For a reverse 2-point conversion, if you will.
No, I
to win the
definitely
game.
would have remembered you telling me that.
To win the game. Which was
crazy.
A wild way to end a district ball game like that. So,
well, and that just makes me think we got to go back to how things used to be back before we had 2-point conversions.
Just, a trade, just
play the game.
Yeah.
Just play the game. Because I talked about this with some people I know when it comes down to 2-point conversions. It's just now I don't even want if I'm playing defense, I'm just going to go for 2. I'm not going to try to kick a field goal and send it to a second overtime. Because you have to go for 2 in the second overtime anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you're trading 2-point conversion plays. So if I have my best 2-point conversion play that I think can win me a ball game, I'm just going to use it right there in that first overtime. Let me try to win the ball game. And I think that kind of magic has been lost from football.
Yeah.
We had the greatest football game of all time. A&M versus LSU, 74-72. And then, what does the NCAA do? Ah, man. It's a lot of plays for those kids to be out there. We're going to change it.
Yeah.
And then I think the next year, Illinois beat somebody, may have been Penn State, like 19-17. And it was a 7 overtime game. Because they just were trading 2-point conversions. And it just takes it out of it, And so those moments where you get like, oh man, well, that really does suck for me that, I get one play on this drive to try to figure it out. And then Dayton comes and picks it off and runs it back.
Right.
Well,
and it was wild too. If you watch it on the video, it was basically a scrum for the ball, jousting for it basically. Dayton just had a little bit more muscle behind it and then wrestled it away, took it back for the 2. So that was a wild finish in that one. So, but a big one on Friday for Huntsville, taking on Montgomery. Ticket information's online, hornetnation.info. Click on the tickets tab. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the ball game tonight at the Hornet Nation Coaches Show at Chick-fil-A, so come on out. We'd love to see you there. So it'll be interesting there. The other side of my weekend coverage, I made a little trip prior to PNG out to the city of the Crosses, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Sam Houston took on New Mexico State in a return to Conference USA play. And for about 3 quarters, back and forth, quite the battle in conference play, which you expect to see in conference play. And then just down the stretch, a couple mistakes by Sam Houston on defense and special teams allowed New Mexico State to pull away for the 37-10 win. So the Cats are still looking for their first win of the season at 0-5, trying to do that this week. They're going to be against Jack State on Thursday night at Shell Energy Stadium. It's the homecoming game in Houston. It'll be interesting to see if they can try and pull that one off there.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say – look, it's a good year last year, and it's tough when you lose your program and a lot of your players in the era we have in college football. And you know what?
I'll say this. I spoke with Coach Longo today in our pregame interview, and he said, you hate to have a start like this, but at the end of the day, it's a process. I mean, It's like you said, you lose all those guys that made help make your program what it was, especially a lot of guys that had been on the team since you made the move from FCS to FBS. So you lose all those guys to the portal, graduation, yada yada yada, and so it's a rebuild that Sam's trying to do right now. So it's unfortunate that they haven't found that win column yet, but as we've seen, all it takes is just that. You get that first win and you start, get some confidence back. So, but it'll be a tough. Jack State's a really good program. First year head coach as well, Charles Kelly, who came over from Alabama. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. That's a 7:00 kick on Thursday night on the CBS Sports Network.
My last thought on this, and on the Bearkats, is I would just like to see some more youth get onto the field. Can't substitute live game reps for anything in practice. And I think I understand trying to still win now, but I think at some point you have to start continuing to build for the future. And when you look at what happened 2 years ago when Sam Houston really struggled, they put a lot of guys on the field who were younger in order to help build them up and get them ready to compete the next year. And I understand you have to balance not showing too many of your young guys because you don't want somebody the wrong team seeing some tape and then them showing out against somebody, and then all of a sudden they're getting back channeled in the portal to, hey, if you come here, we'll give you $350,000, and here's what our rev share numbers are compared to Sam Houston. But yeah, I think it's been a tough season, but I'm still confident in what Coach Longo wants to build. I just don't want detractors to start coming in and saying, we have to tear it all down. Well, okay, that's like saying, hey, we got to go start rebuilding the press box at Bauer Stadium already. And then it's just scaffolding and saying, well, press box doesn't look right, so we got to go tear that down and build a new one.
No,
it's a process. We're putting scaffolding up right now, and eventually we're going to fill it out. And we just need to give Coach Longo some time to figure out this program and their identity. I've watched coaching changes happen more than I would like to at Texas A&M. And I can tell you, it takes about a year and a half, 2 years to actually see the DNA of a coach get implanted into a program. You look at A&M, right now they're number 5 in the country. Mike Elko has finally gotten that team.
He's got his
looking
guys
and playing the way that a Mike Elko team will look and play.
And to that point, and there's a lot of players that have gone through A&M and have found success elsewhere and have really been able to, and it's because of their time at that previous school. That's helped them get where they're at now. So, I still have I have all the belief in Sam Houston to be able to, turn the program back to what it was, let's just say last year, and what it's capable of being.
Absolutely.
So it's just people need to realize it is a new world of college football that we are living in. It is not the same as it was 5-10 years ago,
yes,
pre-COVID. So this is the world we live in now, and you have to adapt to it, and it will happen. So
absolutely.
Let's dive into national sports. We are in the thick of the NFL season, which we'll get to in a minute, but it's playoff time in Major League Baseball. We're not a part of it, but we don't need to talk about that. We've already talked about that ad nauseum on this show. Major League Baseball playoffs in full swing. No pun intended. NLDS is going to be rolling today. Here in a little bit, I believe. I believe it's the Dodgers and Phillies will have first pitch on FS1. Dodgers lead the Phillies 1-0 in that series. Milwaukee and Chicago, they take the night stage in prime time tonight. Detroit and Seattle tied at a game apiece. Looking pretty good in that series. I had that series going 5, so that's right on cue. And then what my favorite result has been so far of the postseason, Toronto laying the smackdown on those guys from the Bronx, leading 2-0 in that series with a chance to go for the sweep tomorrow. So this postseason has gone just about as much as I expected it to. The top dogs performing well, and the teams that have come out of the wild card are outside of maybe Chicago and New York are performing well as I thought they would.
Yeah, nothing brings my heart more joy than watching the Yankees get absolutely blasted by the Blue Jays. It's been nice. We talked about ad nauseum the Astros missing the playoffs, and so we're not going to get into that. But I will say, as a baseball fan, it is nice to not have so much emotional investment in a team in a series, and I just get to sit down and I get to watch, the playoffs and get to enjoy good baseball, which is always great. I think things have kind of fallen exactly how I would expect them to fall. I think outside of the Yankees and Blue Jays, just the Blue Jays absolutely just dominating the Yankees. Nothing has really surprised me that much. I thought the Dodgers were still the Dodgers. They're still the defending world champs. You have to beat the champ to be the best. Or
yep.
What would Fleur say? You got to beat the best to be the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honey, I'm the best. Well, that's the Dodgers right now. And until somebody knocks them off, they're gonna have the right to call themselves the champion.
Both teams. I'm going to correct myself. That it's a 5:08 Central first pitch for Dodgers and Phillies today. They're throwing. Philadelphia's throwing one of their best. Jesus Luzardo on the mound, 15-7 on the year. sub-4 ERA. They're up against Blake Snell, who had been off and on the injured list throughout the season, but he's got a 2.35 ERA, and he's performed well in the postseason so far. So that'll be interesting. I think tonight's also a night where the Cubs can even up the series against Milwaukee with what they're throwing out there. Tomorrow, I think it'll be really a toss-up between Seattle and Detroit. I think both of their starters are both very capable. Jack Flaherty's a little bit on the low side, but I think it could definitely go either way. But I think also tomorrow's where we see the end of the run for the New York Yankees. I know they're throwing Rodon out there, who's had a really good year, but I think Shane Bieber's got enough caliber to shut down the Yankees, and the Blue Jays will be off to the ALCS for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see the Tigers match them there. When I look at the last 5, Detroit was fighting tooth and nail to get in to the playoffs, and Seattle just kind of coasted after they locked up. After they locked up the division, they kind of said, "Okay, you know what, we're done." And I'm never a big fan of seeing that happen in any sports team. I don't like seeing you coast. I want to see you go in and play your absolute best, and especially when you're going into a win or go home situation. And if you feel like you can coast, I think that adds an air of complacency, and you don't have urgency going into what you where you're at, especially whenever you have a first round bye and you're not having to be in the playoffs or in the wild card.
Right, so it'll be interesting. I think a lot needs to play out. We'll have definitely a better look when we get to next week's episode. Let me just skip ahead. What we were thinking Monday next week.
Yeah, Monday we're gonna have Should I announce it right now?
Sure.
Yeah. So Monday, actually very exciting. We're gonna have our first guest, a good friend of mine, Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies, is gonna join the show, and we're gonna sit down and talk with him about just his career and where he's been and the teams he's seen and the things he's done and the games he's called, and very excited for that. So going to be a little bit earlier on Monday than usual because he has a press conference he also has to get to for Coach Elko down at College Station.
Yep.
But yeah, very excited for that on Monday.
Absolutely. So by Monday, we'll be already into the league championship series on both sides. So we'll have a good idea of who potentially could be in the World Series coming up next week. Okay. Let's talk a little bit of more pigskin, but of the NFL variety. Good day for both of our fandoms.
Indeed.
We'll start with you, John, and the Cowboys, getting a big win on the road against the Jets. You keep them as the lone winless team in the country. Thanks, John. But if you're a Jets fan, but Cowboys up to 2-2-1 on the year. Have we had a chance to talk about? Yeah, we did. We talked about the tie last week on last week's show.
We talked about great game, but I thought Dallas. You went out and you won the way you're supposed to win when you are more talented than another team.
Yes.
And even with your two of your top 3 receivers out, even with 4 of your starting offensive linemen out, even losing your leading tackler and captain of your defense in the first quarter with the concussion, you still went out. And you still beat the Jets the way the Dallas Cowboys are supposed to beat the New York Jets.
Yes.
Javonte Williams
It's a stud.
Is looking like he did when he was drafted by the Broncos. Right now he is on pace for 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns. And then 3 receiving touchdowns. So he's on pace for 20 total touchdowns. He is averaging 5.7 yards a carry. He's 3rd in the league in rushing yards. He's tied for 2nd in rushing touchdowns. I thought Jaden Blue did good in his first game with the Cowboys, actually being able to play. And Dak Prescott, it was very businesslike for Dak.
Yeah.
I think Dak has shown that when he's healthy and when he's right, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, I know there's questions around his ability to win in the playoffs. Those are completely valid. I have questions about his ability to win in the playoffs. But nobody can argue with the fact that in the regular season, Dak Prescott, when healthy, and when his team is healthy, He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't even know who Flournoy is. I was watching the game, and I was like, who is Ryan Flournoy? Flournoy. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. And all he did was go out there and have 9 catches for 114 yards. I think if that's what you're going to get, I do not know what I just did on my.
For those of you who are wondering who Ryan Flournoy is,
he's a practice squad player that just got picked up by the Cowboys.
Yeah, so he was drafted in 2024, 6th round pick by the Cowboys. He's a Southeast Missouri State Red Hawk product.
So he probably played here at Bowers.
Maybe.
Yeah, because he probably would
have.
He would have been on one of those 21 or 22 teams that they came and played.
So he played in 22 and 23.
Okay.
So,
22. They came here in 22.
Was it in 22 when they came? I should know this because I called that game.
Was she the voice of the Bearkats?
Hang on, let's see. That's 23. I would like 22 stats, please. Anyway, you may have a really good point.
But yeah, so he was great. I thought, last week I talked about James Houston, the defensive end from Jacksonville State, and he was great. Again, he had 1.5 sacks, and let's see here, 2022, he did not play against the Bearkats, unfortunately. I have his college stats up right here.
No, he did not. I'm fairly certain that they played. It may have been fall of 21.
Yeah. It was one of those. But, I thought James Houston did fantastic. Again, Spencer James, or I don't even think that's the name. Shamar James had 15 tackles. It was a good win to see the Cowboys win that way, especially whenever there still are a lot of questions about pass rush. You sacked Justin Fields 5 times. George Pickens, very businesslike. Jake Ferguson, he didn't catch a touchdown pass for a year and a half.
Yeah,
and now he has 3 in the last 2 games. So just all around, just great day for the Dallas Cowboys, and I am very, very pleased with that. Now, it is the Jets, and I understand that. Okay, you have the Panthers next week, and I said this. You have the Panthers and you have the Jets. Can you get some wins there? Bringing Washington in before Washington for that game
before the bye.
Bye, and seeing how you're going to be doing. So. I like where my Cowboys are at right now.
I think I can speak for Justin on this. It was a sight for sore eyes to see the Texans play so well against Baltimore, which is a place where a lot of heartbreak for Texans fans has happened in the city of Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium. But look, I know that the Ravens were banged up as can be. You don't have Lamar Jackson. You didn't have Matabike. You didn't have this, and that. You didn't have Kyle Hamilton. And a couple of guys that played that probably aren't at 100%. But at the end of the day, you still have Derrick Henry in your backfield. You have Zay Flowers, former Texan DeAndre Hopkins. Granted, he's at the end of his career. Yeah. Mark Andrews, and a lot of talent. But the problem for Baltimore was that you had Cooper Rush throwing to them.
Yeah. They still did their jobs, however.
Houston went in and still performed at a very high level. You got to do that, especially when you go on the road to a hostile atmosphere. And that's exactly what C.J. Stroud and the team did. Stroud had 4 incompletions the entire ballgame. He looked like the C.J. Stroud of last year.
Yes.
244 yards through 4 touchdowns, was only sacked twice, so kudos to that offensive line.
Yep.
Nick Chubb had a great game, 11 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. And the ball moved around to a bunch of different targets. Christian Kirk was the leading receiver of all guys. Dalton Schultz, 5 catches for 60 yards. Nico Collins, 4 catches, 52 yards. He had a touchdown. Xavier Hutchinson had 2 of the touchdowns in the ballgame, which was cool to see. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, the 2 rookies from Iowa State, they combined for 6 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown.
Good
so
for them.
The rookies even got to be involved. I don't know who Brendan Bates is, to tell you the truth, but he got 2 for 23. So Stroud did a good job just moving the ball around to so many different receivers, 4, 7, 10 guys, 8 guys had catches, 2 more had targets.
Stroud and the team, it's absolutely the most complete team game we've played all season. You
Yes.
can tell the offense was firing on all cylinders. Defense has been good all year. They did their job. They were able to hold down
And
Cooper Rush, not let him do much.
I've never seen Houston hold down Derrick Henry as good as they did.
Yeah, I know. Like
In that
going
ball
back
game.
to like
This
the
is not to
Titans
rain on
days
your
when
parade, but Derrick Henry has not been himself this year.
Has he really not? I haven't been keeping
No.
up with him much.
Derrick Henry has not been himself this year. I don't know if he's hitting that plateau. I know he's superhuman.
All running backs
But-
eventually hit it.
You know, he has.
I mean, ever since the Buffalo game, he has backslidden quite a bit.
Yeah,
Backslidden.
he has not topped. He has not gone over 50 yards in a game since that Buffalo game.
Oh, no kidding.
He had 23 against Cleveland, 50 against Detroit, and 42 against Kansas City, and then 33 against Houston.
Just let us have this win.
No, and that's not to say, because look,
W.
there's a thing to be said about exercising curses and going into places and beating people that you usually don't beat. It's like
Yeah.
the Tennessee Titans with y'all wearing those older throwback jerseys. They still can't beat y'all wearing those things.
Ain't that the truth?
Okay, so
Yep.
so you know, until Tennessee beats you with those jerseys on, you know, I can't say anything.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is something to be said about going out and handling business the way that the Texans went and handled business. Okay, those are still professional football players on the other side.
Exactly.
And you still won by 5 scores. So
Yeah.
hats off to y'all. It was a good week for our football teams overall, minus the Bearkats. And we'll talk about that.
And then now Texans get to go into a bye. Then you have to do the NFC West swing at Seattle, and then hosting the 49ers. At Seattle's on Monday Night Football also, which tends to be an Achilles heel for the Texans, playing on Monday Night Football. But
Yeah, that's been.
We just talked about y'all
rough one
breaking
for a
curses
while.
this year.
So, and that might be the
that's
time.
a great
Curses
point.
this
But
year.
I will say this. And one thing I got Red Zone again because I realized I didn't have it, and so I got it so I could watch a lot of the games yesterday. Sam Darnold in Seattle has kind of rekindled the spirit that he had while he was in college and then or his early NFL career.
It's last year too.
and
last year, too.
Last year he was great for the Vikings.
I'm so happy for him.
And
I'm so happy
look,
for him.
here's what I'll say. Okay, Adam Gase and the Jets are quarterback killers.
Yes.
Adam Gase is a quarterback killer. Ryan Tannehill was awful for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He was terrible.
Yeah, he was.
He got run out of town.
And then he went and had a
And then he went to
respectable
Tennessee.
career in Tennessee.
They for 33 touchdowns in a year.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The Adam
That's
the Adam Gase effect cannot be overstated with how bad he is for young quarterbacks. Okay? I loved Sam Darnold coming out of college.
Yeah.
I thought he was better than Baker Mayfield.
Oh.
I thought he was the best quarterback in that draft.
Well, and we
Really?
got to see them go against each other
Yes.
yesterday, and they both put on a show.
Yes, but to sit there and tell me that Sam Darnold's career is over because of he was playing for the worst organization in the sport, period. And Baker Mayfield's career was over because he was playing for the second worst organization in the sport, period.
And then, can we... This
then
is
he
really
goes
funny.
to Carolina.
They both went to Carolina.
yes, they both go to Carolina, which were both bad situations.
It's really funny how similar their careers turned out.
And then they get to go someplace else
they're
and bet on
thriving.
themselves, and their talent shines through. That's Tom Brady said it best. The NFL doesn't have a quarterback play problem; they have a quarterback development problem.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
So
why.
true.
That's why I look at these guys
why he's the
like
GOAT.
I don't want to make any judgment on Bryce Young because the
Yeah.
Panthers are a dumpster fire. And now they're finally putting people around him, and he's actually looking halfway decent,
Right.
Hey,
right? Like
that's a start.
the Patriots, even without Bill Belichick, are still a championship level organization. There's still people in there that know how to win.
Yes.
That were part of that run. That it wasn't just Brady and Belichick as much as we love to say it was. That Rob Kraft is a good owner, right? So they don't put Drake May out there right away.
Yeah.
That's why
Right,
Caleb
yeah.
Williams didn't want to go to Chicago.
Because they were going to put him out there right
Because they were
away.
going to put him out there, and their QB graveyards around the NFL that I'm looking at, and I'm like, man, I would never want to go play quarterback for the Chicago Bears or the Cleveland Browns or the
Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers
Yeah.
or the New York Jets. Because every young quarterback y'all have ever had,
Ever.
has been terrible. And they go somewhere else,
And
and
they're
they look fantastic. I mean, those two guys that we mentioned combined for over 700 yards.
And it came down to the end.
700 yards and 6 touchdowns. I'm sorry, you can't tell me that, that it was their fault.
It wasn't.
So hats off to Sam Darnold. I loved the was it 2016 Rose Bowl, USC versus Penn State. Oh man, that was one of the best college football games I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I was in SoCal at the time. There was a lot of fanfare for that one.
Oh man.
So, and then last touch on the NFL. First off, Chiefs-Jaguars tonight. Please, Jacksonville, for all mankind, get a win at home against the Chiefs, and or else it's just gonna start the snowball at this point.
Yep.
Although, as a Texans fan, maybe if the Chiefs win tonight, that would help a little bit because that would put Texans a game behind the Jaguars for the division.
And did y'all watch New England versus Buffalo last night?
I did.
I didn't get a chance.
that might
watched
have
it.
been the game of the year.
I
was
watched it from
fantastic.
start to finish.
I've missed both games of the year now, man.
It was slow to start. They were trading turnovers left and right out of the gate. It was 6-3 New England at the half. Second, I wouldn't call it game of the year. I'd call it the second half of the year
Okay.
because of just how bad it was. It was a defensive first half.
But see, that's what I like. That's what I like about it, though, is that it had a little bit of something for everybody. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
It like the second half was the offense and everybody going back and forth and who's going to get the ball last is who's going to win the game. And that first half, man, I got to watch a defensive
just slugfest.
Slugfest.
I think my mind is skewed is because I chose to start Josh Allen over C.J. Stroud in one of my fantasy leagues.
Yeah,
And
see,
that's on me. I was a little hurt by that.
That's fantasy football hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you deconstruct your fandom. All right.
I don't have a fandom for either of those teams unless it's
You
playoffs.
don't deconstruct the games that they were in and appreciate it less.
So it was a very well played football game, and that's why we don't have any more undefeated teams because New England went there and beat Buffalo. I'll say this: my mini segment here, my blunder of the week goes to the Arizona Cardinals. They had a 21-6 lead at the half against the winless Tennessee Titans, and then the Titans rattle off 16 points in the fourth quarter to win. I saw the tail end of that game.
Okay, look, PSA to all the Huntsville Hornet guys that are watching this podcast, okay? Do not flip the ball out once you're crossing the goal line. It never works well. Don't drop it. Don't flip it out. Don't toss it to the official. It's never going to work out well. Run into the end zone with the ball covered, find the official,
give him the football, and then do your dance and whatever.
But do not flip. It just doesn't work out well.
I know for a fact one of my favorite YouTube channels, shout out to him, Urinating Tree. He's going to name that the locale of the week because of just how pitiful
I can already see it now.
that was. That was just awful. But
Well,
it'll be interesting to see how the season progresses. Next week will be a little less stress. It'll be a little stress-free for me and Justin since the Texans aren't on TV, so we can just
Carolina
sit back.
Panthers.
I always enjoy the bye week.
Sit back and watch.
Well, you're going to get to enjoy a good day. I mean, you can go.
I'll have Red Zone on, so I'll be able to get a little bit of everything.
This night stretch, San Francisco at Tampa Bay at 3:25 on CBS.
Oh, that'll be a good
into
one.
Detroit at Kansas City at 7:20. And then Monday Night Football, man.
Bears
versus Commanders. Caleb versus Jaden.
I think people don't realize
all that talk, 1 versus 2, a year in. Jaden was everything Caleb was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You know, Caleb and the Bears have looked a lot better with Ben Johnson. So, you know, it'll be interesting. It's a good football weekend.
It will be.
Good football weekend.
All right, final segment on this third episode of Beyond the Mic. I've had the pleasure of doing a lot of traveling over the last 3 years since being named voice of the Bearkats in 22. It's also I've gotten to go see a lot of cool places. I think my first year we were in Utah maybe 6-7 times in the year because that's just how many Utah schools Sam played in all sports. I've gotten to go to some awesome places this year alone. I've gotten to go to Hawaii. I went and saw a night game at DKR. There's a lot of cool places in Conference USA, but with these travels, sometimes it brings some nightmarish scenarios in terms of travel because travel is unpredictable. Now, granted, on the football side, we charter, so it's a little bit more streamlined and a little bit easier to get to and from places, but when you get into like the basketball and the baseball, you fly commercially. And you fly in and out of airports just around a bunch of different people. You just have Sam Houston gear on. So here we'll talk a little bit about some travel nightmares that I've experienced, you guys have experienced on your travels, wherever that may be. I mean, for Justin, that could just be in general travel nightmares for you.
Oh, dear.
But for me, I have two. Real quick. I'll try to rattle them off really quick. I'd say my first really big travel nightmare that I experienced was in my first year. We were flying to Santa Clara for the NIT, Sam Houston men's basketball. This is the last year Jason Hooten was head coach. And we're flying into San Francisco. And if you've ever flown into San Francisco, the flight pattern takes you over the bay, and the runways at SFO, they jet out over the water. So it can get a little hairy sometimes, especially if the wind's blowing. We're in this big 767, and it's a wide body, so it doesn't cut through the wind as good as another plane would, a regular plane you'd fly in. Yeah. I'm a plane nerd, by the way, so
really?
I love planes and I always have, and I love flying. But this day made me question it. My love for flying. We're out over the bay. We're I'd say about 3 minutes from landing, so we're maybe 1,000 feet above the bay.
Right.
And it's a blustery day in San Francisco. I'm talking 45, 50 mile an hour winds gusting to 60, 70. It's almost like a hurricane out on the bay. And we're coming in, we hit an air pocket, and the plane free falls 150 feet. And so you lift up in your seat, and then you crash back down whenever they finally catch it. And then you are just sitting there. To put in perspective, I had Lamar Wilkerson right in front of me. This is his first year with Sam Houston. I have never seen him so pale. We all got just rigid and gripping our seats until we hit the ground. And then we get on the ground. 2.5 hours on the tarmac because they're not letting anybody take off or land at SFO because the wind is so bad. And we're just sitting there on the tarmac, and the wind's blowing us around. The plane is moving on the tarmac, flipping back and forth, but because of the wind blowing around so bad, so you feel like you're in a dryer. So that was brutal. The end of the trip was great because Sam Houston went on and beat Santa Clara and got their first NIT win in program history. So excellent. That was a cool one. The second travel nightmare we had was also with Sam Houston men's basketball. This was our first year in Conference USA. And we were flying in and out of Miami playing FIU. We had lost to FIU, and so we get to the airport, and if I can tell you anything about Miami International, don't. It's just don't. It's that the part of the airport we were in, the domestic terminal, just ridiculously bad. No. So we're flying. We're trying to fly out, get back to Houston. And our plane just keeps getting delayed and delayed. There was a rainstorm that had blown through Miami. So, and I'm tracking our plane, our specific plane that is supposed to come and pick us up.
Yep.
It gets diverted up to Orlando. And so I'm sitting there waiting for this darn plane to move from Orlando down to Miami. Finally does at about, let's say, so we were supposed to take off at about 12:30. It finally arrives in Miami at 3 o'clock. There's a process, get the plane emptied out, and then bring everybody back on. So they finally get us boarded at about 4:30. And we're finally taxiing after about half an hour of sitting on the dang plane. So we're taxiing at 5 o'clock. I doze off for a little bit. And we're going, and then we stop. And then I wake up from my little bit of a nap to the pilot coming on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We hate to inform all of you that our crew has run out of fly hours for the day, so we're going to be taking you back to the terminal, and you'll have to get with the airline to see about your travel arrangements to get you to Houston. Thanks, and we'll be at the gate in about 10 minutes.
How long have you practiced that?
That was the most perfect
specific pilot voice.
I wouldn't say I've practiced it.
You've practiced it.
I probably have.
You've practiced it.
that too.
Was that spot on?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Practice that. Don't say it was that spot on. You know it was.
You know what you were doing.
So we get off the plane and we get into the terminal, and I felt bad for our SID. He was so mad. Our SID was so mad. And so we're in the terminal, and then the managers and the coaches, they're trying to figure all out how the heck we're gonna get home. And then it turns out there's not another flight to get us back to Houston that had enough seats to get all of us back. There were flights, but not enough to get us all back.
And that's when you say, yeah, hey, not enough seats, but you can send me. I volunteers tribute.
Me and our SID tried to do that, but I wouldn't say we tried to do that. We wanted to do that. So we end up getting stuck in Miami an extra night longer than we wanted to. And mind you, they had to play Jack State 5 days after that on the road in Alabama, so that added an extra day of travel on it. But so how did we figure it out? We managed to get a hotel for the night for all of us. Yeah. All of us except our SID, who decided to stay at the airport. Oh my God. I don't know how he did it. There were Cuban sandwiches and Cuban coffee that kept him going. So that's all that matters. But our flight the next day, mind you, this is 8 o'clock at this point. We all get Ubers to the hotel and whatever. Our flight the next day is at 5 in the morning. So that means getting up at 3 and getting back to the airport. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up all the way through. Me and I roomed with our SID assistant, and then we got back to the airport, got in the plane, took off. We were home by 8 o'clock. I texted my boss and said, hey, can you go to Jack State? I'm exhausted. And so those are my two really big travel nightmares, and they happened within a year of each other. But it's been pretty smooth sailing since then. Knock on wood that this next basketball season we don't have any of those problems.
Do you want to go next?
I can go next, yeah. I'm the complete opposite of you. I am mortified of flying. I hate flying. I had miserable flying experiences in the military that just completely turned me off from the experience. Those V-22 Ospreys are the scariest thing ever to get in.
I can imagine.
I didn't have the sense of my own mortality that I do now when I was like 18, so it didn't bother me as much. But man, we were getting those things, and every time you did, it's like, yep, this could be the time that one little bolt falls out and the whole thing just explodes midair. That's literally a thing that they do. My worst flying experience is definitely flying back from my second deployment. We flew through a tropical storm, and yeah, that was mortifying.
Yeah.
I woke up to the entire plane shaking. Even like the stewardesses were like scared. I'm like, it's bad when
who are trained for every theoretical situation on an airplane, and they're freaking out.
No, they were. You could tell they were worried. This was it's called Atlas Airlines. It's some like international.
They're a cargo airline, but they can all. I think they're also helping with. They help with military.
We were human cargo.
Yeah.
So the pilot did not say anything. They just decided to barrel right through it with no warning. Like, well, if they die, they die, I guess was the... So anyway, I've been absolutely terrified of flying ever since. Now I have to,
We should plan a staff trip.
No, not if we're flying. I don't want to fly anywhere.
You'll just drive and meet us there?
I'm better now. I mean, it's been 7 years, so I've gotten better. I'm flying to Orlando this December. And
that won't be too bad.
Kind of dreading it, but...
That won't be too bad. I went there last year. It's nice.
Well, I have to fly to Utah every year for my thing, so... I love flying into Utah. I will say that.
It is.
That view into Salt Lake City is really nice.
Utah is very pretty.
What about you, John?
I have two. Luckily for broadcasting, I've never really had bad travel experiences, thankfully. Besides just, run into some traffic and stressing if I might get to a game on time.
Sure.
But the first one that came to mind was I went and worked in Alaska a couple years ago. And the company I was working for was flying me up there. And so they go, okay, you're going to go get on this flight at this time at Houston. And you're going to go Houston to LAX. Then you're going to go LAX to Seattle, and then you're going to catch the overnight from Seattle to Anchorage. And that's what, and then we'll pick you up at about 2 a.m. Alaskan time. And you're just going to, we have a hotel for you, and you're just going to kind of sleep there for about 5-6 hours. And then, y'all can, we're gonna pick some things up in Anchorage, and we're gonna take you out to the peninsula where you're working. It's like, okay, sounds good. First 2 legs, our first leg goes great. Okay, no problems. Get to LAX in time. All right. And in fact, our plane that was taking us to Seattle got to LAX early, so they were like, hey, we're gonna get y'all suckers on board. Let's get going. Well, we all get on, and then all of a sudden, this is your captain. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. We need everybody to get off the plane.
Oh, no.
Felt so bad because there was a mom who was next to me, and she had a brand new, 1-year-old baby.
Oh, no.
And he was just not having it.
Yeah.
And so, so we get off there, and I go up to the pilot, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he was like, well, apparently a part of our plane broke off during landing that we didn't know about. So they're trying to see if they can fix it, and if not, we're trying to get a new plane. I was like, okay, sick. And so the flight attendant was great. She was like, hey, when you get to Seattle, you squeeze them for every single thing that they'll get you. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm just a guy. I'm not trying, it's fine. These things happen. So then we get back on the plane, then we deboard the plane. And then they bring us back on the plane one more time, and then we take off. Problem was, I got to Seattle. My plane to Anchorage had already left.
Already, yeah. Typical.
So Seattle's airport was also under construction at this time, which really sucked because I had known their airport. And we were worried. We were told that our bags were already on their way to Anchorage. And I was like, what the heck? So I had to leave the airport to go to baggage security. And they're like, oh, no, we have them right here. Don't worry. And I was like, okay, sick. Well, when you leave airport security,
you got to go back through.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. So anyways, go back through security. Luckily, there's nobody trying to get through security at 2 a.m. in the morning. So got through there, and then the adventure begins to try to find the Alaskan Airlines desk.
No.
So that takes about 2 hours.
Jeez.
So
and that's a hub for them.
Yes. Because of the airport construction.
Golly.
So finally we
What a
find them.
mess.
It's about 4 a.m. by the time that I'm talking to them. And they're like, yeah, we got your call ahead number. Here's the deal. Okay? We don't know if we have a seat for you. Because when we left LAX, they were like, hey, the only guaranteed seats we have are on May 31st, which is my birthday. I was like, oh, sick. Problem was, it was May 26th.
5 days.
5 days to get to Anchorage, Alaska. And so
I'd hoof it at that point.
the problem was, at this time, I didn't have a passport.
Drive.
I had the required documents that I needed to enter into Canada. However, you're not allowed to use those same documents to re-enter into the United States. You have to have 3 more different documents.
And a passport being one of them.
Well, a passport just gets you in.
Sure.
There's some weird. I was looking all this up. There's a weird agreement about citizens entering into different countries of Mexico and Canada and the United States, and you can use your driver's license, a photo of your birth certificate, and something else to get into a place. But then you have to have your social security card, and then something else to actually re-enter into the United States.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
Dang.
So I was sitting there. I was like, okay, well, how much are ferries? Right. Luckily, at 6 a.m., I get there, and they call my name, and they say, hey, we have a seat for you and your coworker. And so I pulled into Anchorage, Alaska at about 8:30 a.m. My boss picks me up from the airport, says, okay, you need to download this app. So I download it. Or he texts me that night before. He's like, hey, you need to download this app before you come get here. So we download it, and then we get there, and we make our profile, and he's like, okay, press that clock in button because now you're on the clock. And I was so delusional that there's a video out there on the phone of me riding around in a cart at Home Depot just out of it because of how tired I was.
Yeah.
My second story, and this will be the final story, is I went to pick up my sister from Rhode Island last year. My sister, if you don't know the viewers, she's a Division I softball player at Bryant University. Go Bulldogs. And so we went to pick her up to bring her home for Christmas break. And we get up there, and it's great. As we're leaving, starts to snow. I was like, oh, this is so nice. Like, it's snowing. It's December. It's
magical.
Christmassy.
So magical.
Yeah, well, then it started to snow harder.
Oh, boy.
And then a blizzard hit the northeast of the United States. And the plane that we were supposed to take from Bryant to Rhode Island to Philadelphia to connect us to Philadelphia to Houston got delayed by 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so eventually, though, they started saying, hey, we've overbooked our flight. We'll give you this $100 travel voucher.
Oh, okay, there it is.
And so I looked to my mom, who was with me, and my sister, and I said, hey, look, if that thing hits $1,500, I'm taking it. like y'all go home, okay? I will find a way. I will find a way to get home. But I'm gonna take $1,500. Somebody picked it up at the 1,200 mark, and I was really upset. So anyways, we get there, and then we have to sprint through the Philadelphia airport because our plane, we didn't know if we were gonna land in time to make our connecting flight,
right,
and get stranded in Philly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that plane got delayed because of the blizzard.
Okay, so you caught a break.
So luckily we caught a break. But the problem was then I wanted to get home, and our plane in Philly got delayed by 2 hours. So we had 5 hours total of delays.
Good Lord.
And the only thing I got made up for, my mom had gotten first class tickets from Philadelphia to Houston.
Nice.
And I got a little warm hand towel, and it was nice. I could lean my seat back, and I didn't have to worry about being a jerk. And I was just like, they're like, would you like the chicken or the beef meal, sir? And I was like, I do not care. Like, I need food.
You always go with the beef.
Okay.
We had beef and chicken as a choice on the way to Hawaii. Everyone that got the chicken was so mad because it was so bad. I got the beef. I was pleased.
Yeah, I think it was like a beef shawarma. I think that's what it was.
Mine was just beef cutlets and a bunch of other things and a salad that wasn't really a salad.
I don't remember what it was, but dude, for being in an airport for 5 hours not eating any food.
You'll eat anything.
Oh, dude, it was so good.
Were all the restaurants closed at that point?
No, but all the you have to understand, like, the Providence, Rhode Island, it's 14 terminals.
Gates.
Or 14 gates. Sorry, yeah. It's one terminal, 14 gates, right? Maybe it's technically two terminals because they say one side is Terminal A and one side is Terminal B.
Fair.
Okay. And all they have is a little food court in the middle that has a hot dog place because there's like this famous hot dog chain in Rhode Island.
Right.
And then a bar. And I was like, it's freaking 11 a.m. right now. It's too early to start drinking. I don't want a hot dog at an airport hot dog. That just sounds like a bad idea. And so I didn't eat there, but then we started getting delayed. So I had a pretzel from there. It was a good pretzel. I have to admit, it was a good pretzel. But when we got to Philly, I could go. I only risked going to the bathroom because I had to use the bathroom so bad. But we thought we were going to be like,
you were going to be on
like
sprinting.
Running into the gate, Home Alone 2 style. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, just all-time travel nightmare. And then I still had to drive us back to College Station after that. And I was like, sat there and I was like, Mom, what are the odds that we just get a hotel?
Can we just sleep?
Like we just get one of these hotels right next to the parking spot, and we just get a room because I'm so tired. But I pushed through. I made it. We survived.
I think we're going to need to have a part 2 of these travel nightmares because I have one where it's not related to a sports team, but I honestly has a little tiny tie to a sports team, so we'll have to talk about that on a future episode. But that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Mic on this Monday. Don't forget, join us tonight, Hornet Nation Coaches Show, Chick-fil-A of Huntsville. Chick-fil-A will have bingo for y'all to play and win some awesome prizes, as well as we'll have a drawing for a pair of tickets to the Hornet football game on Friday night against Montgomery. But you have to be at the show to win. It's going to be an awesome show here this evening, so hope to see you out there tonight at Chick-fil-A. Next week here on Beyond the Mic, we'll have the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies and Andrew Monaco joining us. I'm excited to have him on. John, you and him have a great relationship, and I met Andrew in my first ball game as voice of the Bearkats, and I saw him last year at baseball, so it'd be awesome to have him on the show next week. We'll also have more things to talk about: college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, all of that good stuff coming up next week. So that'll do it for us. For John and Justin, I'm Carlos Zimmermann. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday here on Beyond the Mic.